Avenue.
Thank you, Chad. Oh, now I got a lot to live up to. I love that video they just played before. First of all, it's absolutely hilarious. And second, it just reminds me of every time I do something like this, I get uncomfortable because I think it's about me, and everything that we do is not about me. And when I was watching that in his last line about the leader really being overrated, I think about that with the people that we serve and the people that work with me, that although I try and lead this company and I am the owner-founder, without the people that work for me, this would be nothing, and they are the true leaders. And then the people that we serve in the homeless community and the poor, they end up leading their own lives and they become leaders as well. So I just think that's so true and just really a great segue into this. What I want to talk to you about is our business. I'm new to Montgomery, and we have a social enterprise, and I don't know if all of you are familiar with that term, and it's a for-benefit company. I'll get more into that as we get into the company information. But we are really all about finding innovation in destruction. We deal with destruction. Innovation and destruction are themes that we deal with on a daily basis. What I'd like to do first, before I get into the company and what we're doing here and what we're all about, I'd like to spend a few minutes telling you why I do what I do and what's been placed in my heart and really to my very core to do reinvention and to run reinvention and gear by reinvention. 5 years ago, in 2007, I took a trip to Bangkok, Thailand. And I was very interested. I've always had a heart to serve. In my early 40s, I really started feeling the leading. I was in the fashion industry. I loved being in that, but I started thinking I was single and no kids, and thought, gosh, I just want to live a larger life. I want to do what I'm doing, and I love what I'm doing. And there's such an audience to present something new to in what I'm doing. But I just thought, gosh, the same old thing and frivolous. And I just really wanted to do something bigger. There was a lot going on in the world. There is a lot going on in the world. And I wanted to be a part, just maybe a small part of making a change there. So my whole, my thought process in that whole poverty, extreme poverty, agenda was work. I'm a hard worker. And I thought, that's a way to, stop exploitation that comes out of poverty and extreme poverty. And also, too, builds community so that people don't have to leave where they're living. If you can actually build some sort of employment, really remove them from those circumstances, then perhaps they won't have to leave that place to go and be exploited, to go and be fooled thinking they are going somewhere for employment or some sort of a job and then are just being exploited. So that's what was in me. I was like, who's doing this? Who's making a difference this way? Who's thinking like I'm thinking? And in 2007, I went to Bangkok, Thailand, and I went to spend a month with an organization and a ministry called Nightlight International, and they make jewelry. And the population that they serve are girls that are coming out of the sex trafficking industry. And they physically are on the ground every day and 3 nights a week going into the bars, which actually front as brothels in Bangkok, to talk to the girls, build relationships, and offer them an alternative. For me, that's so important because, and I love this, Annie Dieselberg is the executive director of Nightlight. And she was real brass tacks, and I am too, and she said, it doesn't matter, if you have someone that's in prostitution and out being pimped every night, and whether it's in a bar or they're out on the street, it doesn't matter, they're making an income. So you have to be able to replace that income. And so that's what Nightlight decided to do. It was 5 women, really bold, courageous women who hit the streets in Bangkok and started offering an alternative to make jewelry. By the time I got there, it was a very brilliant business model. And I thought, because of my experience and my resume and being a sales rep and in the fashion industry, dealing with clothing and accessories and that sort of thing, that I was going to bring my ideas and my plans to them to help them build a more sustainable business and therefore sustainable lives. That's always the thing when you're offering something like this to girls like that, who are coming out of those situations. You better be able to promise or follow up on what you're promising. If you're giving them a way out, you never want to see them go back to it. So I quickly found out, I was in their offices for about 5 minutes, and that was completely blown out of the water. What I learned is I better shut up and go sit somewhere and listen and learn from them, because they were going to teach me. I wanted to do something, I had a dream and I had a vision, and the only way for that to happen was for me to listen and to learn from them. One of the most important things that I learned is that with the poor and the homeless, people that are in poverty, you don't take your ideas and plans and put it on them. You need to sit and listen and learn and observe what they need and what their plans would be if they had the opportunity. So I spent a month there, and we have a very short time here to speak. And this was a group of girls I absolutely adored. And this picture is always very profound for me, makes me a little emotional, because every one of these girls, the older one in the back was actually a mama-san, and that meant that in the bar she was pretty much their pimp. And the rest of them, you could see how young they are, they were actually in the bars and being prostituted every night. And that was whether they were obligated to go because they had to take care of their families, an uncle trafficked them in, or an actual trafficker took them into Bangkok for this. This is what they all came out of. I went to Bangkok thinking, I'm going to change the world, and I'm going to show girls how to change their nation and change their world. And what I found, my roommate for the month, we ran into these girls on our way to dinner. And my roommate came about 10 minutes later. And she said, oh my gosh, I just got the greatest shot of the girls. And I said, oh, I know, we saw them on the way in. And she said, look at this. And she showed me this shot. And I thought, whether I knew where they would have been that Thursday night without Nightlight and without that economic alternative that they were offering them. And to think on a Thursday night that they had just left work and it was just the girls going for dinner. I thought, that's really all I want to do. Whether they change their nation or they change the world, maybe their kids will. I don't know, maybe they will. But I thought that's the most important thing to me, is that they never have to go back to that place on a Thursday night, and that they can just leave work and just go have dinner with the girls. So that's what put a conviction in me to my very core. So when I returned, I thought, I'm just going to start my own business. Reinvention was something that just came up, and I think it was more the reinvention of me. Really was. There was just so much that had happened in me. And then I thought, too, we're taking this thing of organizations and ministries serving their people, but also reinventing the way they serve people, and really offering an alternative to their circumstances. So I thought, reinvention sounds good. Reinvention is strong, it'll appeal to people, I think it'll rally people, and it just was deeply personal to me. So reinvention started as a sales group, and that kind of a product that jewelry like Nightlight makes. I had clothing, I had some other jewelry, and I took it on the road, and because of my experience in the wholesale part of it, selling to stores, to retail, I thought this way I can build a more sustainable business for them, because it takes it to a whole new level. So I was about 3 or 4 months into that, and I have a friend who lives out on a farm in Lafayette. And we were walking through one of the barns, and her husband was standing over by a big stack of coffee bean sacks. I didn't know that's what it was, I just saw the burlap. I was like, gosh, that's just really beautiful. He was standing like 5 or 6 feet from me. And he said, he picked one up. I said, what is that? And he said, they're coffee bean sacks. And I said, well, let me see that. And he picked one up and he threw it at me. And he said, if anyone can do something with this, you can. And I said, well, okay, I will. And so I took that coffee bean sack and I thought, you know, it's so beautiful, loved the texture of it. Gosh, thought how it would go with so many different fabrics and just all the different colors and the textures and putting all that design together and the many things I could do with that. I started with the bags and the pillows. And then I started noticing that what I wanted to do with that was actually all of the textures, the colors, everything being recycled, everything that we do. This is when gear was born. And everything that we do, it is sustainable. So everything is upcycled, recycled, repurposed, re-everything. And so I thought as what we wanted to do and what was in my heart, it so represented just the story, you know, of what everyone would discard and to turn it into something beautiful. And I thought about that for the people that I wanted to serve. So although reinvention was really just a very, it had a very global perspective, view, I knew that gear, because of what was happening right in front of me, I was living in Auburn and Opelika at the time, I knew that gear had to start. For me to be able to serve globally, to do something that big, it had to start with the person right in front of me. So I started putting these products together. I was doing all of the prep work, and I started working with single moms over in Auburn and Opelika. And as it grew, I had to, we started looking and thinking we needed more people to sew. So gear became something where we had our net profits. All of that started being, that would be reinvested back into the ministries and organizations that we were serving with. And that organization or ministry that came up was Friendship Mission here in Montgomery. And so we met with them in October of, I think it was 2010. And Mary Rosado said, you know, this was something that she had been looking for the women in the transitional program. She really wanted to offer them work. So we thought, maybe is it too soon for us to start doing this, but we just jumped in. So we started working with them, and this is Xela. And Xela we met almost 2 years ago, and she came into the mission. And Xela had been in prison and was a crack addict, and oh my goodness, just the things that she had been through. But Xela is really a true success story because she had decided she had completely had it. She was really at the complete bottom, and she was ready to do something different with her life. So we have actually, she was one of the women we started working with on site there at the mission. And she has just been such a joy for us. She's actually working with gear now and doing an internship with us. We have a couple of the women that have now come in and worked with us. When we first got there, again, it was just, when we first got there, this is what was totally destroyed at the mission, and this was an old yellow school bus, and we actually turned it into a sewing center. So this is where the women come in. We're on site every Saturday, training them in every aspect of what we do, and working with them in sewing and cutting, and every woman that's part of the transitional program comes in and works with us on Saturdays. Sorry. From there, we decided that we would go ahead and make the move to Montgomery. So we went up to the Cottage Hill area, to the firehouse that's up there at the 5 Points, and again, came into that building, and this is where we are going to build all of our manufacturing. And this is where Xela is working out of, and these are our headquarters. We've recently finished the living quarters, and I'm able to live there pretty much full time at this point. And we're able to really, what we're excited about is that we can actually be ingrained in the community. So we're not just at the mission on Saturdays, we're able to work with them more, and this will give us the opportunity to be on site there and be at the bus doing sewing, or we can also work with them during the week here at the firehouse. And so we can really build their skills. Now, a lot of these women, we would like for them to come and work with us, but through gear and through what we're doing with them, we feel like we are building life skills and other skills and trying to build a network to where, too, they can go and find other work. So if they decide they don't want to work with gear, then they can come in and we can try to find employment for them elsewhere. This has been really just quite a journey for us. We're really excited about being here in Montgomery and excited about being in the firehouse and everything that we have to look forward to. Rachel Fisher, who works with me, gave me a quote yesterday, and I just wanted to share this with you. It said, "True innovation doesn't come from ideas in your head, but convictions in your heart." And you know, after hearing everyone speak this evening, I truly believe that. Ideas are here, but I think that innovation is the life, and it comes from a deeper place where your convictions reside. I think innovation puts life to it. Our product, the innovation from our conviction, is really just a means to an end. Our conviction is to serve and to serve well, and our innovation will hopefully help us to do this, to serve well. So I've shared with you a little bit of our thing, and just our hope is that what we're doing in our thing will possibly inspire you to do your thing. And thank you.